Yo, Counter Attack Podcast with myself, Daps. Guys, keep liking, subscribing, sharing, all of that good stuff. Yeah, man, just gonna give you a quick video again, man. Champions League roundup. You know, we've seen Arsenal lost. Arsenal are just in bad form right now. We saw Man City lost. Liverpool continue to win, looking really good. What else has been happening that needs to be spoken about? Do you know what? Let me stick with those main subjects here. So, one thing that I'm going to talk about, if we're going to talk about Arsenal losing, is that Arsenal didn't even look like scoring. Arsenal didn't look like, they had another way to like create a goal, and there's just no creativity out there. And I saw a post from Jamie Lawrence today, talking about how there's no creativity in the game. People aren't even like the wingers. They're not even putting in crosses. Like they're always trying to cut in and then putting crosses. And do you know what? I'm going to talk about that today because I'm from an era, like I watched good eras of football. And not to say this era isn't good, but when you've grown up with the education that I've got in terms of even playing football and watching football, growing up with the Dennis Bergkamps, growing up with the Zidans and, Nedved, Seedorf, all these players, Paul Scholes, Robert Pires. Do you get what I'm saying? And I know what football was and what it is now. I'm looking at it and it's hard for me to accept certain things that I see on a football field because of what I've seen in previous like eras. And I know some people might be like, oh, those eras are gone and you need to move on. But I just think that certain things just need to be done better. Like everything is so system and tactics now. The need for individual brilliance is not there anymore. I heard, or just doing things the most simple and in the most direct way. So, Arsenal lost on the weekend against Newcastle. And if you look at their goal, a cross and header, it's simple. Simple. Whereas I look at Arsenal playing and there's always, everything has to be so methodical. Everything always has to be incision. That when the ball gets to this zone, this is what I want from you and blah, 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 blah. And I just think that we've gone so far to the right or so far to the left, whichever, that it's hard for them to reel it in. To get what I'm saying? Because you can't always get the results you want from playing that way. A lot of the time, majority of the time, you might if you're Arsenal's or Liverpool's or Man City's. But there's going to be other times where you just need different ways to play football, man. Sorry, to go back to the game yesterday, they doubled up on Saka. Every now and then Saka would get down, get to the byline, get a cross in, like on his weaker foot. And I'm just like, bruh, sometimes just lay it back to Ben White and Ben White could just cross it. Sometimes just put the ball in the right areas sometimes. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you're looking at the strikers, like Havertz, and I like Havertz, but in terms of number 9, real number 9s, sometimes all this false 9 and people that can bring other things into the game, sometimes you just need a man that is just going to go out there and just put the ball in the back of the net. And no matter what they say about new systems, no matter what they say about new ways of playing and, making sure that, the ball gets to here in this amount of passes, making sure that this transition is done this. Listen, I don't care about all of that. When it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net, I still believe that a true number 9 is a dying art. To get what I'm saying? So, when you look at the strikers that we have today, it's hard because even like crosses aren't even coming into the box. You're asking man to be all rounders. I don't really care about all round strikers, to be honest. I just care about people that can put the ball in the back of the net. You see, growing up here, so I'm all over the place with this podcast because this is something that just annoys me, and it's going to lead me to the Gyökeres. I don't know how to say his name. It's going to lead me to that in a second. But when I was growing up watching football, watching strikers, remember I grew up on Ian Wright and Andy Cole and them, man. Cool. I watched Ruud van Nistelrooy. I watched Defoe. I watched Alan Shearer. I watched Henry. When I'm watching these players, there's certain strikers that I've known like Henry who can do it all. He can do it all. But for the most part, I just need my striker to just put the ball in the back of the net. I don't need him to be able to drop in and get involved in areas of play. No, I just need a man that's just going to run in behind or, you know, just get his shots off and boom. Defoe was one of the best at that. He didn't care. Half a yard, shot off. Half a yard, shot. All he cared about was goal scoring. You know what I mean? And they had people who would provide them with the assist. Wingers used to go down on like right wingers we used to be right footed, left wingers used to be left footed. Go down, get the ball in the box and bang. Chris Wood is milking it right now. Chris Wood is on form because he's not doing anything crazy. Chris Wood right now he's getting the service and he's just finishing it off, poaching. He's not getting involved in, you know, hold up play and having to drift to the left. He's keeping his job very, very simple. Put the ball in the box and I'll be there to finish it, no matter how the finish looks. And sometimes I feel like we just need to go back to that, you know, and it leads me on to, you know, Gyökeres, sorry, I can't pronounce his name, but it leads me on to him because I'm not someone I saw him a bit for Coventry. I'm talking about highlights. I'm not talking about like real games and everything. And since then, I've seen when he scored, you know, here and there in highlights as well, or when I see it on social media. I watched him against Man City, and to be honest, he's a good throwback striker. I think, you know, he wants to do the running in behind. He wants to just get shots off, and he's only interested in scoring goals. But for me, what I actually want to ask you guys at home is, for someone that loves the art of just strikers, is he the guy that maybe like an Arsenal need, where everyone knows Arsenal need a striker? Is he that guy, or is he just another player who's a good goal scorer in a weaker league? Like, have you guys seen enough of Gyökeres to be able to be like, yeah, this is the guy. He's going for a minimum 60, 70 mil. This is the guy you bank your money on, and he's going to get you goals. Because I don't know, he looked it, him up against Haaland, he came out on top, hat-trick in the Champions League against Man City. He's scoring however many goals already this season. He's looking like that's going to be the guy that everyone's going to be after. But from what you guys have seen, is he going to be like someone that is actually really, really good? Or is he just another Ciro Immobile who everyone's got on their lips right now? Like, no disrespect to Ciro Immobile. But yeah, you know, I'm tired of like Arsenal playing in a way where it's so rigid, you know, like, because, and the thing is, Arteta has a lot to. I'm not that guy that's gonna come out and say Arteta needs to lose his job. No, I don't think things are as easy as this man needs to lose his job. No, I do think though he can't be so stubborn in regards to being, you know, playing his way that he cannot mix it up, because you've got the players. I would understand if you didn't have the players to play a certain way, but you've got the players. You just don't want to trust certain players. You know what I mean? So, you know, Trossard is struggling right now. And it's going under the radar, but he's struggling right now. It's going under the radar because Martinelli's there and Martinelli's been worse. But Trossard is struggling. And it's fine. Players struggle here and there. But when you've got players like Nwaneri, and I'm someone that I'm like, you don't need to just throw them in. But the chances you've given him, he's shown that he's capable and it's what we need right now. Then you can throw him in. I know before everyone saw him play against Brentford. Oh, throw him in. But I was never that way inclined. But what I've seen of when he's been given a chance, he more than warrants an opportunity to play. So play him. I don't care about, you know, being, you know, stable, and because I feel like Arteta sets up his team to play a certain way and not to get beat. Do you know what I mean? And he sets them up not to get beat rather than going out to beat the other team. And I don't like that. Do you get what I'm saying? I think that when you've got Nwaneri while Odegaard is out, that would be the perfect time. While you've got Trossard off form, while you've got Martinelli off form, play him. Play him. You cannot be so stubborn and have no faith in the players that you have that you cannot change the way you play. And all it's doing is right now when we need that bit of spark, the players who it's not their profile to do that, like Marino, you're killing him. Because he's looking terrible. Because you're asking him to do things at a time when we're off form, when things aren't going well. You're asking him to do things, that's not his game. So, you know, I don't know, man, and it's showing all throughout the team. So I definitely feel like sometimes when people are off form, mix it up, change it up, it's fine. Nothing's gonna, because we can't do any worse than what we're doing now. But that's just me on Arsenal. And if I'm being honest as well, against Inter Milan, I'm being super critical, but away from home, obviously they got the penalty. That handball rule needs to change in Champions League, by the way. It's ball to hand. There's nothing you could do there. But I get it, in Champions League they give those. That's fine. But away from home, if we had come away from that with maybe a 0-0, you could be a bit disappointed that we didn't really go for it. But I don't think it was the worst away performance. I do feel like it was okay against a good Inter team. But when you're chasing a goal, you know, there's just nothing that they were doing. There's nothing that they were doing. Do you know what I mean? Inter were quite happy to let them go down the wings, throwing crosses, knowing that they're going to eat them up all day long, and they did it. So, and it's becoming too evident. It's becoming too easy to play against Arsenal right now, especially without Odegaard. Obviously, Odegaard got minutes on 5 minutes yesterday, so hopefully he should be available against Chelsea. But even for that game against Chelsea, I would say if you set up like you're just trying to contain and trying to not get beat, you're going to get beat. Right now is a time when, especially when people are like talking about, you know, Arteta, you know, having pressure on him, talking about certain players being dropped from the team. Now is the time where you go out there and you make a statement. You don't go and set up your team to just avoid defeat. No, you go out and you put out a team that's really going to attack them and take the game to them and put out a statement, because it's not good enough from Arsenal right now. And one more loss in the next coming weeks, whilst others are not dropping points, and you're definitely out of the title race. So that's what I'm saying about Arsenal. Let me know what you guys think about Gyökeres. Man City, I'm not really going to say too much on Man City because those things can happen. Do you know what I'm saying? Haaland misses a penalty, which never was a penalty anyway. Gyökeres is on fire that game, and I think long term you will see how they start missing Rodri. Long term, I think Man City can do it for certain games, but I think over the course of a season, you're definitely going to see the effects of not having a player like that. But he's a big player, Ballon d'Or winner. Like, you're going to see it, that they're going to suffer without him in certain games. So, but then again, there's certain games as well where, like those, where you're going to need your Fodens, who's supposed to be this world beater, to like come up and make the difference. Because a lot gets said about Phil Foden, but in the moments like against Sporting, when you maybe need the characters, he wasn't there. And people are gonna say he got his goal, but after his goal, especially that second half, I don't really see anything from him. But yeah, listen, guys, what else is there? Liverpool keep getting the results, and you know, Bayer Leverkusen put up a good fight in that first half, but come second half, Liverpool were just too good for them, and they do the basics well. Like, Anslot came out after the game and he said they did the running and like working hard side of it really, really well, and they increased it. And you know, it just goes to show that sometimes you can have all the systems in the world, but if you're not doing the basics well, come on, you don't stand a chance. So I think that's all that for the news today. Unless there's been other breaking news, which I do not think there has been. Yeah. Okay, cool. No, that's it. But yeah, I'm probably gonna get this afternoon at some point. And obviously there's Europa League games going on. I might just go live actually, seeing as I'm already here. So yeah, that's it for me. I'm out.